Yes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Listen, I know my audience. Clearly, people are coming for it. Just wiggle. Heavy metal. Listen to your father. I am no trend forecaster by any means. This is what I've just been seeing in my own client projects and the outlook of what people are interested in interiors online. I'm gonna share with you some predictions that I've seen that are gonna be forecasted into 2024. This past year, we've seen a lot of really beautiful trends that I personally think have some longevity to them, and others, let's just say, missed the mark and have disappeared in probably less than a week before they showed up. I can pretty much say the same moving into 2024. There are some very interesting trends, but then again, they're the ones that I think are worth investing in and that you should actually try putting in your home. Welcome back to my channel. If you have not met me before, my name is Phoenix Gray, aka Design Daddy, and this channel is all about interior design. Whether you're renovating or own, I'm here to help. You can also join my free design newsletter in the description box below, where I answer all of your most commonly asked interior design questions because I see them. You all comment so many great questions, so keep them coming because I am always updating that newsletter. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Mr. Phoenix Gray, where you can see all my daily design tricks, and sometimes, I've mentioned this before, a shirtless selfie may or may not pop up on those stories, but you know, you didn't hear it from me. First on the list is statement flooring, but not your typical statement flooring when it comes to like your hardwood. I'm talking about tiles. And I think this is an incredible trend to incorporate into your home, because the greatest part is that it is a small space in your home. I've seen people using it in their foyer, people in their powder room. I personally love using it in my clients' pantries because you create such a beautiful impact when you walk into the space. Now I get it, some of these statement floors can be pretty expensive, especially if you're using a mosaic. They can range anywhere from $14 a square foot, and then if you do those brass inlays, unfortunately the water jetting increases that price, and they can go up to $60 a square foot just for a small patterned area. But hear me out. The greatest part about these small areas is that you're using such a small amount of square footage. So when you're incorporating these really beautiful, bold mosaic tiles into these spaces, you don't have to buy a whole ton of it. Depending on the budget you're working with, your foyer or even your powder room can cost anywhere between $1,200 up to maybe $2,000, depending on the tile that you're using for. But in my opinion, makes such a big, beautiful, and bold impact, especially if the rest of the room is neutral and subtle. Floors play such a huge role. And to me, I've seen this starting to incorporate near the end of this year. I have a pretty strong feeling that in 2024, it's going to become pretty apparent. Also, when it comes to these spaces, make sure that they are properly scaled with the area. I don't want to see giant, bold, scaled floor patterns with small rooms. It's going to look very uneasy. So make sure that it's scaled properly and it actually feels natural in the space. We've also seen a lot of European inspiration from 2023 that I absolutely guarantee it is going to carry into 2024. The beautiful aspects of these European inspiration interiors carry through with so much character, so much detail, and so much depth. The rise of picture frame molding I have seen across Pinterest have been insane. Yes, it can be very trendy and it can look tacky if it's not incorporated correctly, but these images perfectly articulate the inspiration that really you can draw from to use in your own spaces. Once again, this European inspiration is very particular to your interior design style, so I want you to make sure that it actually works with your existing space and you're not just adding it in for the sake of it, because let's be real, if you just add molding like this that is so eccentric and so beautiful into a space that doesn't actually fit it, it's going to look so off-putting. With the controversy around open floor plans slowly coming to an end, but in my opinion, honestly, they're not going anywhere. I feel like they are sticking around for a while. But with the situation of working from home, people want those isolated rooms. You want to be able to have certain designated areas, and in open floor plans, you really can't have that if you're working from home, you're cooking from home, everything you're doing is in one open space and it feels tired. So a lot of people are starting to incorporate those isolated rooms, especially with your kitchen. They're starting to come back. And although I don't necessarily consider this a trend, I forecast it being pretty important when it comes to architects and designers alike designing homes. There are so many considerations and incorporations that are put into your space, and an open or a closed floor plan is very particular to how you live your life. So moving forward, I can really see these closed floor plans being very important. I'm also starting to see a rise in heavy metal finishes. Not this kind of heavy metal. Heavy metal when I'm talking about incorporating into your plumbing fixtures and the finishes alike. We have seen a trend forecast of the matte black that's been solid for years. We have also seen the introduction of brass and aged brass and patinaed brass and burnished brass, a million different formulations. But going into 2024, I have seen the incorporation of high polished finishes. But let me stop you there because I know you're like, Phoenix, if they bring back chrome, I am going to scream because I hate it. So many people hate it. It's so cold in a space and it doesn't work. But this heavy metal is the introduction of black chrome, this like darkened nickel, and even copper. It still has this beautiful sense of a warmth to it. I love the use of these small areas that have these reflective surfaces because it brings in that extra depth that you're not expecting. And honestly, a polished black nickel or a blackened stainless steel looks so chic. Sometimes a matte black can come off pretty flat, so this incorporation really adds so much dimension and detail into a space that otherwise would be unexpected. If you saw the most recent renovation that I just shared, fluting was used everywhere. I think it is beautiful. It is very particular to the style and the interior of your own home that you're actually incorporating it with. But as we continue, we have moved away from that slat style that has been so big in 2022 and 2023. While slats come off very strong and masculine, the idea behind fluting really gives you that soft and more feminine approach. The great thing about fluting versus slats is that you can actually embody the curvature of millwork. It really adds that extra level of softness that plays on such a beautiful space. I definitely think that fluting has a timeless appeal to it, but once again, like any trend, use it sparingly in your home. But I personally think that fluting has the capability of being timeless. And remember, if you are using it in your home, it has to work with the interior design style. If you're just putting it in all willy-nilly and just adding it in, it's going to look very out of place, much like the rest of these trends, if they are not embodied with your interior design style. This isn't anything new, but appliance garages. These are such a beautiful way to bring that extra utilitarian aspect into your space, especially your kitchen or even your living room. I've also incorporated them into bedrooms as well to have a coffee station set up. It is a great way to really hide these spaces away, but still have them in a space for when you actually need them. In the 70s and 80s, we were all about having appliances we were showing off. They were bold, they were colorful, they were huge. They took up the entire kitchen and every space in between. We have slowly started transitioning into this incorporation of these items being hidden away. So all you see is the style of your kitchen, and it's not just about the appliances, it's about the aesthetic of how your kitchen looks and feels while everything else is hidden away. While I said this isn't anything new, I'm going to foresee this being big in 2024 because I am designing so many of these in the spaces that I'm working on. In terms of color, blue is on the rise, and yes, I am very biased with this because I personally love blue, especially if you're incorporating that navy into a space. It adds such a heightened level of aesthetic into your look with really looking beautiful and luxe on a budget, because paint is the greatest thing to incorporate into your space without spending too much money, and you can change it up anytime you get sick of it. Marble isn't anything new in your space, but a lot of individuals are starting to use curved marble details in your islands in the actual fabrication process of the build. Now, don't get me wrong, this is extremely beautiful. Like, to have curved marble adds such a beautiful sculptural aspect to your home, but the issue a lot of people don't realize is the fabrication costs that are associated included with this. Marble can be any price between whatever you're looking for slab-wise, but when it comes to the fabrication costs, this is what's going to blow your budget out of the water. I can see this curved marble trend being very popular, but at the same time, it is only for the wealthy or the extremely rich that are actually paying for this. Because if you're not doing it right, you're gonna get these really ugly seams like these images, and they really take away from that sculptural aspect. The whole curve appeal is segueing right into my next topic, which is curved millwork. I get it, this is also a very 50-50 on the fence look because it really can bring back that 70s and 80s retro vibe, but depending on the style of it, it can also have that contemporary look that really ties a space together. The one thing that I love about curved millwork is that they are the perfect design to include on cornered areas because it softens the actual look and you don't feel like you're actually tightening around certain corners like in hallways or even in long areas. Our spaces are designed around rectangles and squares, and bringing in these subtle curves, even if it's just in the corner of the millwork, really allows you to reduce the amount of static that you feel in a space because you're breaking up that monotonous repetition of angle, curve, rectangle, square. We've seen the rise of thrifting and antiquing, and from a sustainability standpoint, this is incredible to include in your home. The one downside that I see about this trend and this huge interest in antique and vintage pieces is that you are including them everywhere. Every single piece you're bringing into a home is vintage. It's been refurbished, you've redone it. The major issue that I see personally is that it pigeonholes you into a very specific look, whether it be that mid-century modern style or that traditional look. Too many vintage pieces really doesn't make your space look great. The assimilation of these vintage pieces in your space is to create balance. So I want you to find that very fine line between these pieces that work well with modern and contemporary styles. These images perfectly articulate marrying the two. Every year we move into this gray, dreary, depressive state because of the lack of sunshine and everything is gray. So this introduction of warmth that I'm seeing now is going to carry right into 2024, and it is this burnt amber and burnt umber color. It really adds such a level of sophistication and warmth to a space. This is one color I would be wary of though, because it can really be intensified with how much you use in a space. So use it sparingly and see how the color actually reflects in your space before you commit to it. Another major design feature that I'm seeing very popular are walk-in pantries. Yes, I understand that this is very particular to the home and the amount of space that you actually have. Out of the 8 homes that I'm designing right now, every single one of them has a walk-in pantry. And let me tell you, it's not just like your grandmother's walk-in pantry where it's those wire shelves that are cheap, dated, and they really have no design aspect to them. We are fully designing these spaces to incorporate your appliances, an appliance garage. It is meant to be a display so it looks beautiful and feels beautiful as you walk into it. Smart home features, once again, aren't anything new, but I'm starting to see a rise in popularity. Whether it be plugs so you can have all your stuff on automation, or pop-up outlets, even hidden light receptacles that are all on a timed management system are great for your space. As we move forward, technology advances, and bringing these into your home is such a great idea to make your life easier. The one downside to the using technology is if you're committing to everything you're using in your space, it can have a downfall. Yes, we have all seen Terminator. We don't want that. We don't want any AI systems going off. But the biggest issue that I see, a lot of individuals are incorporating these keyless lock systems into your home. Yes, it's great because if you forget your keys, you have your phone. But what if your phone dies? How are you getting in your house? Riddle me that. Touché. When it comes to lighting, sculptural is king. You know, if you have watched any of my videos before when I talk about lighting, adding that artistic flair to your lights is so important because this is an everyday item that you're using constantly that really can add so many beautiful features to your home and really draw focus in a space. Ovid, I recently came across on TikTok and Instagram. This is one of their images. All of their lights are made out of bent wood, and I think it is such an incredible feature to really utilize in your space because we all know those typical farmhouse lights that you see everywhere. They are everywhere on Pinterest. They are everywhere on Google. Everywhere you look, they are ugly as hell. This is the perfect opportunity to bring in that artistic feature into lighting that adds so much warmth and character into a space. I definitely foresee this being really big moving into next year, but then once again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So this is another one that I hope dies because I don't want it to continue, but it is the polished gold look. If you've seen my previous video on my home review of Kendall Jenner, you know I saw and I commented on that gold tub, and let me tell you that it haunts me to this day since I saw it. No, get it away. Oh my goodness, I had words to say about that bathtub. It was all gold, super reflective, and it really didn't match the entirety of the space. It was so yellow and off-putting that I would never recommend it for anyone, nor would I want it for myself. But I'm seeing a rise in this polished gold. It was huge in the early 2000s for that glam look with that like high gloss gold contrasted with black and white. And it honestly, it looked like garbage. I know some people still have this, but I'm telling you, it is time to update your space if you still have those. Honestly, this polished gold look is giving gold member, and it is not a great look because every time I think of it, I just think of that one video clip of him just eating the skin, and it's not cute. Don't do that in your house. We're not reminding anyone of gold member, so let's pass on this trend. I've seen another big rise in epoxy flooring. This is another one that I am not here for at all. There have been so many videos lately I've seen of people putting epoxy on their tiles and their flooring in their entire home. Epoxy is so commercial grade and so commercial looking that does not belong in your home. These pictures articulate how bad it looks in your space, and people are doing that faux marble look. It looks bad. This high reflective surface that is seamless on your rooms does not expand the size of your space like you think it does. Do not do this in your home unless it's in your garage, because this is the only time I would even recommend or even think of using epoxy in your house. This is just a gentle reminder that no matter what I say, at the end of the day, this is your home. My opinions are just that, but you watched the video because you came here to see what I had to say. So in terms, you should be listening to me. My job as a designer is to make your home as future-proof and as timeless as possible, because at the end of the day, I want you to love your space. So if you do like any of these trends that I think are forecasted, please incorporate them sparingly into your home. Don't go all out and designing everything specific around this, especially not the polished gold and epoxy, because that is just not, we are not bringing that into 2024. I will say this, and you can fight me on it, but we're gonna zoom in really close. Come here really close with me. If you have Ray Dunn art or pottery items in your home, that I will send you to jail for. That is the one item that I will be like, no, I'm done. I will not let you hire me if you have those items and if you wanna bring them into your space. As always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Mr. Phoenix Gray to see all my daily design advice. And if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do?